Uh, Once again, this is the same me speaking, Shawn Dexter John. Social Security number 237-996640. And my lead email address is corinthian1@gmail.com. Right now, I was told to reveal my Social Security number, my American Social Security number. That's the only Social Security number I honestly have. Because, I'm in the transition of altering identity in the way I've explained. And I was told that I am safe in doing so, but I got to make sure that everyone knows for sure that what is mine and what isn't mine, and where breached, it'll be detectable and so forth. Okay, but anyway, President of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, is going to eventually step down, or he's going to fake his assassination or death. Hopefully, there's not going to have to be any staged conflict with Venezuela between the United States government and Venezuela. Any stage sort of a military activity or military conflict to commit to this particular narrative. But Venezuela is eventually going to enter into the EAA in 2025, maybe as an associate member or as some sort of partner. But essentially, it's going to get to that point in 2025, subsequent to the area's establishment in 2025. Okay, maybe 2026, Venezuela will actually become an official and nominal associate member. We're going to have to work on that. But as soon as Maduro steps down or is no longer in power to the world, then it'll become a full member of the EAA. And there's not going to be any sort of argument against that. There's not going to be any sort of dissent. I am pretty sure of that. And if there's any sort of alteration of this negotiated plan, it's not going to be consequential at all. It'll be minimal. Okay, Maduro is not incompetent at all. It's just that his perspective is a bit too brash, and it's a bit too it lacks conciliatory perspectives or points of interaction and talks. It lacks that. But he is clearly a Marxist. He's clearly a Marxist version of a socialist. He said he's democratic socialist, but he certainly does not believe in any sort of concept of free market capitalism or even unregulated capitalism. Just him not being able to accept the term capitalism per se, or capital market per se, or capital society. Him not being able to accept that, and him believing that government should own all industries and all organizations within, for the most part, and his aggression in denoting that means that he's not ready to accept that. Yes, we here in the United States of America, for the most part, the Central Intelligence Agency, for the most part, believes in social democracy without any sort of interruption in our belief, in our competence in believing that. But what we believe in is that if government is going to ensure every organization, every business, this and this and that, and effectually own its resurrection upon any falter, it has to be a bit more discreet. It cannot be per se government owning everything and everyone just being under some sort of communist or sort of rule. That's what is implied. We cannot commit to that sort of understanding of social democracy or democratic socialism. Here in the United States, we are not going to consider ourselves socialists by identification. We're going to say social democracy continuously, but it's going to be equal to what is considered socialism, socialism, or democratic socialism per se, elsewhere. So the former communists and the former Marxist worlds, parts of the world, will be able to say that they're democratic socialists, and they're not going to be offensive. But us here in America, we're going to say social democracy. But I'm speaking to the whole world. I'm writing to the whole world, and eventually all of my declassified work papers and work reports and my legal articles, the New Societies, Concepts and Apperceptions of an Eastern Caribbean Model of Commonality, and I'm proceeding that my authored book sketch of the same namesake, published with iUniverse in 2012, all of that, all of my material, all of my documentation, they will be removed from online, from public view, back into being sealed and placed under classification order. This is an emergency temporary declassification procedure. It's backed up or endorsed by the United Nations and enforced and induced by INTERPOL, and certainly intellectualized by the Central Intelligence Agency. So, I'm not trying to be oppressive in explaining that what we have planned is a bit revolutionary to the whole world, you know. And eventually, what I've explained about the 5 cities, which are going to be a stage that's destroyed and in need of being resurrected into modern, into their modern roles, as I have explained, isn't destructive, and it's not going to negate the situation with Iran. The end of the war, the global war that we've already initiated, the end of the global war that we have already identified within the Central Intelligence Agency. We did not initiate or instigate any global war. That was the wrong term usage. But anyway, we initiated the use of the term global war. That's what I meant. But I knew there was that would be misinterpreted immediately. But anyway, so yeah, the end of the global war is going to occur in about 1.5 years or so. Okay, or about 2 years. There's not going to be a conflict on a daily basis for 2 years. It's not going to be, staged or not, whatever is perceived. That's not going to occur. But the war itself, that respective period, is going to last for about 2 years. The global war, the last world war, is going to last for about 2 years, and it's going to end with us removing theocracy in Iran. Okay, we're going to send in NATO special ops and a strike or two, and we're going to remove the Iranian theocratic government. Okay, so that's how the war is going to come to an end. It's not going to be a destruction of Tehran. That's not going to happen. We're just going to remove theocracy. We're going to stage a revolt or a dissent, popular dissent in Tehran. And as soon as the government stages or is serious in preparing to annihilate all dissent, then we'll step in and remove the leaders of the theocracy, the supreme leader, and this and that. Okay, and we will allow the Iranian people to present to the Iranian government the Constitution of Iran or the Constitution of the Republic of Iran, and that's how that's going to come to an end. And that Constitution of Iran will certainly be presented by the Iranian people, and certainly I'm going to be the author of it. I've authored every constitution, modern constitution on the planet. I did so as Du Bois, and so Iran is going to have to surrender to the Americana concept as requested by the United Nations, the whole world. They said they are tired of Iran saying, communicating that it's going to be defined to the very end, and so we're going to have to remove that sort of mentality. But anyway, the people of Iran, I'm pretty sure they're going to say yes to the Constitution of the Republic of Iran. It's going to designate that Islam is the traditional religion of Iran, but it's not going to designate it as the authority over Iran, or it will, and it certainly will not get in the way of every religious faction and community being equally protected by the Constitution, the new Constitution of the Republic of Iran. And yes, the Interfaith Council, which is going to appear in the United Nations, the world government, beyond its 2044 inception, the United Nations world government itself will certainly be fundamental to contemporary governance. Okay, so the world government will be established in 2044, and yes, I'm going to be the first world president. I'm not going to have any representative acting on my behalf, and yes, you're going to have an interfaith council, and it's going to be fundamental to the operation and function of the world government of the United Nations, and it will be considered fundamental and irremovable toward the end of time, until the end of time. Okay, so even though the three branches of government, as I've explained, are needed and are core as fundamental, they're additional and supplemental and complemental fundamental concepts which will be made active within the world government and continental schemes. the continental unions.